Hey everybody, welcome to Game Mess Mornings with me, Jeff Grubb, your host from giantbomb.com. Thank you for tuning in. In this episode, we're going to be talking about a rough launch for a new PC game, and executives are getting excited about streaming again. Oh no, it's going to be a good one because we have Jason Fanelli on the show. Jason, how are you doing on Fanelli Friday?
It's a good Fanelli Friday. Feeling good. Hope you are too. As you can see, I'm in my Philadelphia tuxedo going down to the ballpark this evening. It is Chase Utley Wall of Fame night.
Oh, that's great.
I think this is the most excited my wife has been to go to a baseball game in the regular season ever. We bought these tickets in March. This is her favorite player of all time. She is very, very excited to go see this. We are leaving for the ballpark at 3:30 for a 6:40 first pitch because she wants to see all of the pregame stuff, and I am very much looking forward to it as well. Other than that, it's a normal time where we're slowly creeping into the busy release season, but some of that seems to have leaked out and gotten to me now. And there's no embargo on this, so I can say this. I am currently reviewing Marvel Tōkon for GameSpot and Madden for IGN. So I went from nothing to everything in the span of 2 hours.
It really is. Madden is always the one that's like, oh yeah, review season is here. Like that is all the games start coming out after that point. Alex Navarro used to say that, and that's still true. We see John Madden, we see him see his shadow, and then that means it's time to get to work. Yeah, go ahead.
Now this year, did you see Nicolas Cage as John Madden in those trailers?
I've seen it a little bit. I need to is there a new trailer?
I think something came out yesterday. I think it was the day before. Something came out earlier this week that I haven't had a chance. I haven't had a chance to see it yet either. I am oddly curious about that one. I really am. It's gonna be a weird one.
Man, you're going to the baseball game and remind me, the Tigers won 4 of 5 since they traded Scooble, and I think the Dodgers may be on a full losing streak since then. So hopefully God's punishing them. That's all I can hope for.
Maybe it's him. Maybe it's not you. Maybe it's him.
Absolutely. It has to be what it is. All right, let's see here. Let's explain ourselves. We're Giant Bomb, a bunch of internet video game doofuses just doing fun stuff on the internet around video games. But we need your help to do it. Go to giantbomb.com/join, become a premium member. If you do, you ensure the future of independent games media. We can keep doing things our way with your help. It really does make a huge difference. Thank you to everybody who does support us. Gets you ad-free versions of our show. Gets you premium exclusive stuff. We have a lot of cool stuff in the works, so definitely don't miss out on that. Join up right now so you could be a part of it going forward. We got a lot of cool stuff planned for sure. I'm working on something myself right now. I haven't told anybody about, but I got a bunch of things I'm putting together. I'm trying to design a shirt and things like that. Yeah, it's going to be fun. I'm going to spring it.
Is it those Legos you talked about last week? You finally building them?
Yes, it's a Lego knives, and I'm gonna make these guys fight together. It's gonna be great, and we can all bet on it. It's gonna be a good time.
Yeah, awesome.
As far as this show goes, most weekdays, Jeff Grubb, will help piece your gaming life back together. That includes breaking news and maybe even some of our own original reporting. For all these topics, I'll get the input of a bona fide expert who will make me look smart. If you're watching live on Twitch, welcome. You can always listen to the show later on podcast feeds by searching for Game Mess Mornings, or find the RSS feed on giantbomb.com. You can also catch the show later with chapters and timestamps on YouTube. Hello, YouTube. All right, we have a lot to get into, so let's start the morning mess with Marvel Tōkon launches to an abysmal 44% rating on Steam, specifically. This is from Kenneth Shepard over at Kotaku. I guess it's not too surprising that Marvel Tōkon Fighting Souls Arc System Works' new anime fighter pitting Marvel heroes against each other is having a rough launch on PC. The game's open beta struggled on the platform, and that was only a couple of weeks prior to yesterday's launch. The bad word of mouth has seemingly caught up to it, as the game has launched with just a little over half the day one players on Steam that Dragon Ball Fighter Z, also developed by Arc System Works, had at launch in 2018. Tōkon's player count on Steam landed at around 24,000. That's compares to the 44,000 of Fighter Z. This is a Sony game, and thus it is also on PlayStation 5, so it stands to reason that there's not a not insignificant number of people playing on the console. Since the open beta last month, Players have been reporting that the game is oddly very demanding on PC, which some have theorized may be in part due to the game requiring a PlayStation Network sign-in and thus running more back-end programs that are eating up CPU and memory. People also think like it's the anti-cheat in conjunction with that. It seems to be a real demanding on everything. Kotaku's own test of the open beta, however, show the game is just demanding on its own. For instance, the game often hogged upwards of 95% of my CPU and occasionally as much as 5,000 megabytes of my PC's physical memory. Lewis Parker wrote for Kotaku on his experience with the beta. 6 separate versions of the PlayStation PC SDK runtime application also booted when starting the game, although these had very minimal impact on my CPU and memory. Now the full game is out. It doesn't sound like performance troubles have improved much in the 2 weeks since the testing phase. Linux users seem to be especially having trouble running the game at all. Just kind of basically won't boot for them. The game is horribly optimized, and they should have pushed the PC but release back until they figure this out. A Steam user review reads, I play Tekken, Street Fighter 6 on Ultra, and never dip below 60 frames per second. This is sad because I want to recommend this game due to the amount of fun it is, but realistically, it's in such a bad spot at the moment. Wait for a hotfix before purchasing. This morning, Arc System Works put out a statement thanking fans for playing on launch day and noted it is investigating problems with Token's PC version, but it didn't note any specific issue it was looking into. It seems like a real unfortunate situation that these problems were widely known by people who were playing in those betas, widely reported. A lot of people were like, okay, hopefully they get that fixed up before launch. They probably will. Here we are. That didn't happen. The game seems pretty busted on PC in a lot of ways. I played it offline yesterday, and that wasn't on the PC. Wasn't too bad. I let the shaders go. I think that's a big part. Let the shaders build themselves, pre-build on the game first. I think a lot of people are probably having performance issues specifically because of that. But if you have a beefy PC, you're probably like, I shouldn't need to really do that, and expect maybe I won't get perfect performance. Maybe there'll be some hitches here and there, but it's way worse than that, according to a lot of people. And then this Linux thing, that means this thing won't boot on Steam Deck. It won't boot on Steam machines. You got a shiny new Steam machine. This thing gets released on Steam. You expect it to work, and it just doesn't. Kind of a mess on PC, it seems like.
Yeah, which is a shame. I did find it interesting that review code did not go out until launch day for this one.
Yeah, notice that.
Now it makes sense. And B, everyone I heard that got code, it was all PlayStation code anyway. I am reviewing the game on PlayStation. That PlayStation 5 is my copy, and I have not had but one issue. Once the game downloaded, I will say, I don't know if they fixed this yet, but when the codes first dropped at 11 a.m. yesterday, if you installed the game on PlayStation, you would have gotten the play game, right? And on PlayStation, there's a difference between playing the game and when it's ready to play, but it's still downloading things. This said play game, which is usually the 100% indicator, but it was still downloading things in the background. So if you went in, you chose your language, you confirmed what language you wanted the game to be in, and then it looped back into the booting. And it just did that over and over again until everything installed. That was the only hitch that I have seen so far.
Right. And that play early, like while it's still downloading thing, God, I never trust that to work.
No,
it almost never does.
Same. And I've been playing both offline and online. I found a group of good folks, Kenneth Shepard, Jesse Vitelli, John Carson, and the like, in a Discord group last night. We were trading back and forth in the little, I think it was Ken made a room, and then we all joined the room, and there's 4 consoles in there. So 8 people can play at a time with one spectating, waiting for the first one off. Really cool setup there. Nope, no hitches at all. Plate was playing games as if we were sitting in the same room. Really, really felt good. But I think there's still, and from a technical standpoint, it's frustrating because they saw all these things were coming in the beta. They had the opportunity to delay and they didn't. They're kind of working off the seat of their pants here. But I feel like with fighting games in particular, there has always been the sentiment that they are console heavy, and that has shifted. I feel like PC fighting games have really risen in the past maybe decade or so.
Definitely.
So to where I'm starting to consider them like the premier platform for fighting games. So I think that even Arc System Works, who has never been good at PC ports to begin with, let's be fair, may even be surprised by how many people wanted to play this game on PC. And I also, too, am wondering how much PlayStation's interference, or maybe in the back end, as was mentioned here, might be having that issue, too, because PlayStation was never good at PC ports either, historically. Yes. It just seems like a perfect storm of subpar PC port capabilities has created this mess, and we're not sure when exactly we're going to be able to dig at it.
Yeah, and it does seem like, to the point of the story, like no one ever really had any issues with playing these games or booting it up on Linux or whatever when it was Dragon Ball Fighter Z, right? That stuff, that's all that stuff works just fine. And it does seem to be like, well, PlayStation is publishing this. There is the PlayStation app has to launch. The PlayStation anti-cheat needs to be approved, which I think I'm assuming that the anti-cheat is the exact thing that is preventing it from booting on Linux, really, right? That's a story that's as old as time at this point. So it's like that is just PlayStation not caring about that. I'm letting Arc System Works off the hook here a little bit. I don't know for sure, but this definitely seems mostly like PlayStation, because when we look back at Arc System Works history, like, yeah, not perfect PC ports, but they haven't had issues like this before. I'll say when I booted it up on PC, I installed it. I didn't like not click any approval things. I didn't miss anything. I just installed it on Steam like normal. It didn't even install the PlayStation backend app, and then it yelled at me for not having that installed. It's like, hey, this is not installed. Where is it? I'm like, bitch, I didn't. That's your job. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
What are we doing here? Yeah.
and if people are trying to maybe say that PlayStation wasn't as involved as Arc System Works, sure, Arc System Works developed the game, but when you boot this thing up, before you see the Arc System Works logo, you see the first-party PlayStation logo with all of the symbols.
PlayStation game.
And it's a PlayStation game. Do not discount how much they are involved in this. So I am not surprised if it's Arc System Works just not having as much experience. They do have experience, don't get me wrong. They've ported all these things, but they've always had sorts of hiccups. They've never been very good at the PC port. Again, that perfect storm just kind of revolving around, which is a fun game. It's very unfortunate, as somebody said in chat. I wonder how long it's going to take them to dig out of this.
Yep. Yeah. I think like that perfect storm aspect is worth mentioning, Jason, because it's like, sure, maybe PlayStation is the source of these problems. Arc System Works' ability to navigate them, though, is always like they haven't done this sort of thing before with PlayStation and getting the PlayStation stuff working on PC. And so it's like they're going to rely on Sony to come through on that. And maybe they don't even know exactly what they need from them because they haven't done that before, and it's not like they're PC experts. So now I'm imagining this is not going to be a long-term problem. They do get these things fixed pretty quickly. They want this game to do well on PC. They released it on PC for a reason, as you mentioned. That is a growing segment of the fighting game market is happening on that platform. So. They can't let this 44%, mostly negative or I think it's like fully negative rating on Steam stand. That is something you have to do something about, because that is a scarlet letter this game will carry, and it will hurt the sales. Without a doubt, it'll hurt the sales.
I'll tell you when they're going to have it ready by, at the very least. You know when that's going to be? It's going to be October 8th. You know why October 8th? Because Evo France is October 9 through 11. Marvel Tōkon is a featured game there. And, they don't own Evo anymore, do they?
No.
They don't own Evo anymore. Well, still, they don't want it to look bad on a public platform like that.
And they're still they're still very much involved in that, where it's like they know the fighting game scene is super important. Like they just did that update for the PlayStation system, where it's like you can lock down the Bluetooth so it's less interference when there's like 15 PlayStations in a room together, so that when you're like at a fighting game tournament, things pair more easily or something like that. So yeah, they're aware of that. Well, okay. What do you said you played some of the games so far? I know you're trying to play it for review. So what do you think of it so far?
I am really enjoying the fighting system. Once I train my brain to get out of the be first to hit every time Marvel versus Capcom sort of approach that I used to take. This one is like in Marvel vs. Capcom 3, you would have your combo progression: light, medium, heavy, pop up, and then go up from there. This one has more of a, like, you can do all lights, you can do all mediums, you can do all heavies, you can do light, medium, heavy, but you're not going to get as many hits out of it. You have to really work in the entire kit, plus the special moves, which are done Smash Brothers style: press a button and a direction, or press a button neutral. So that working that in to the speed of a Marvel fighting game like this, it's taken some adjustment, but not at the game's detriment, at my own detriment, at my own, to learn the new system. But once I got it down and I started figuring out characters that I am gelling with to create my 4-person team, it's really starting to sing. I like Penny Parker in her big spider mech. I like Miss Marvel a lot. I like Black Panther here. Shuri is really cool. And I'm still trying to find that 4th slot. It's Magic at the moment, but I'm not really feeling Magic all that much. But I really am enjoying my time with it. I have a lot more to dig into. I haven't done any of the campaign yet. I haven't done any broad online. I only did that room match. I went into the open lobby and it seemed to work fine, but I haven't done any of the like just challenging a random person yet.
Sure.
But so far so good. So far in the 2-3 hours I had with it last night and a little bit this morning. So I'm feeling okay.
I just went through the tutorial and then I couldn't do shit else because I didn't have the PlayStation thing. So I'm like, oh, what do I do here? I think I might have to fully reinstall this game. After that, I have other review games I could be playing, and I'm going to go to bed and deal with the. I have wasps in my basement, Jason. That's what I'm doing.
Oh no!
Yeah. I think it's okay. I got the toxic dust that I call it toxic. I got them. It's called tempo dust. They're under my aluminum. Yeah, exactly. They're under my aluminum siding, and I got like a little bulb thing and sprayed that underneath the aluminum siding. And I'm like, I didn't really notice anything. And then I came in the basement, and there were like 4 or 5 seemingly very confused wasps, being like, "What is going on?" And I guess that's normal. That they like when that happens, the hive collapses and they look for a place to go, and then they're inside. And I Googled it, and like, yeah, those ones are on borrowed time. And then I woke up this morning and they were all dead. So. Problem solved. I dealt with that instead, basically. All right, let's keep going here. MachineGames and id Software celebrate Quake's 30th anniversary with a brand new episode. This is pretty cool. MachineGames and id released Dawn of the Machine, a completely free new Quake campaign celebrating the original game's 30th anniversary. It has 19 maps, secrets, a new soundtrack, time-bending progression mechanics, and a new deathmatch map. It's available through the modern Quake release across Xbox, PlayStation, PC, and Switch. Switch 2 plays it via backward compatibility. Cool. QuakeCon's happening. I hope that people are like finding a way to like still be very happy and have good vibes around that game, despite what's happening over at id with the layoffs recently. Stuff like this, it's like, yeah, man, they just do cool stuff with id and id games like Quake. These map packs, these episodes they've done for various games. They've done this for Quake. They've done this for Doom. Such a cool way to kind of keep that community happy and give them something to dig into. And this sounds, according to a lot of people who I think are like looked at it, like very substantial. It's a neat thing to do, right?
It is an interesting sort of approach to add new content to older games. In this case, a very old game, but also like Ghost Recon Wildlands. I don't know if you saw that yesterday, is getting a new expansion after being that game's what? I know they're celebrating the 25th anniversary of the franchise, but that particular game is 2012, 2013.
Yeah, it's more than 10.
Yeah, if memory serves. So I wonder if companies now are starting to figure out this nostalgia thing where they can just go in, if they still have the source code, and keep adding to these older games, and maybe they can open up this new bit of revenue. And I hate to sound all cold and corporate about it, but this is Xbox. I kind of have to be. I think it's really cool for the Quake fans, and if it feels like that original game, if it emulates what they were feeling back when they were playing it the first time, great. It is also free. Is it free? Yes.
I believe so, yes.
That's even better. You either get people to reinstall and start playing Quake again, or you get people who were curious to begin with to download it for the first time and play Quake, which they might have never done before. And that opens up the possibility of maybe expanding with a brand new Quake. Maybe that's one of the games in the pipeline. Who knows? I think this is really cool, and more companies should do it.
And at the very least, and like we've talked about MachineGames doing this sort of thing before with various id properties, and especially Quake, it just keeps them sharp, right? Well, they just went back, MachineGames, the team that's doing the new Wolfenstein, they did Indiana Jones. They just went back and made a bunch of new Quake levels, which you like, it just gets you in that design mindset of like, man, what would be cool for Quake? And it, like, if that's the team that eventually like does go back and does something new with Quake, well, now they have a lot of experience making Quake now, and it's not like this is fake experience or doesn't count because it's an expansion to an older game. It's like that's not how it works. They made more Quake, and I think it will pay dividends in the future. I continue to think this is such a good idea, good use of resources when you have people that maybe aren't working on other stuff. Get them on a project like this so that they can stretch their legs. They can sort of like use those design muscles and really be like, hey, we have a demanding and discerning audience when it comes to Quake, people who have been playing that game for a long time. What can we do to wow them? What can we do to impress them? And when they start thinking in that mindset, I think it really does challenge them to do something cool. And by all accounts, from people who have played all the stuff, I played a handful of what MachineGames has done for these games, and I've been like, I was impressed. But people who are super into Quake seem to really love what MachineGames has done, and I think that speaks to their ability to kind of do anything with any of these games, but especially if they are the ones to take on Quake. We'll see what that really means.
And boomer shooters are hot now, right? Ever
Absolutely.
since Dusk, I would say, since New Blood came out with Dusk, that seems to be a rising genre again. Who's to say they don't do this with Doom? Could you imagine a new subsection of the original Doom engine? That would be sweet.
Yeah, I want to say that they did do something like that. Maybe it was Doom 2. I want to say Doom MachineGames. I feel like they did something like that, but maybe not. Maybe it was all Quake. All right, let's take a break. Actually, we're going to take a quick break. Then we get back. We'll kind of get to the rest of these headlines. If you want to skip out on these ad messages, we offer you a way to do that on giantbomb.com. If you go to giantbomb.com/join, become a premium member, you can find the ad-free version of the show there. Go ahead and pick that up instead. We will be right back. All right, we're back. It's Game Mess Mornings. Jeff Grubb, Jason Fanelli. Let's get into this next story here on Fanelli Friday. Devolver Digital wants to go private again following a 95% collapse in its share price. This is from John Walker at Kotaku. It seemed like an odd decision at the time when indie publisher, the Devolver Digital of Hotline Miami, Talos Principle, Baby Steps fame, announced it was going to launch an IPO, listing itself on the London Stock Exchange's alternative investment market in 2021, valued at $950 million. Devolver CEO Douglas Morin said at the time, an IPO was the right choice for us to ensure our continued growth and support even more wonderful games. Today, Game Developers reports, the website Game Developer reports, Devolver intends to delist and become a private company once more because the global video game industry has undergone a period of significant disruption and volatility. It also happens to be the case that the company's shares are currently valued at just $45 million compared to that $950 million IPO, a colossal 95.3% wipeout. In a statement posted to investors on August 6th, Devolver laid out its plan to get delisted from the UK-based stock exchange, as well as a proposed return of capital of up to $5 million of cash to qualifying shareholders and holders of depository interest by way of a tender offer subject to approval by shareholders. This is a very different type of language for a company that is best known for its outlandish stunts, maverick advertising campaigns, and a deliberately offensive fictional CFO spokesperson in the form of Fork Parker. In a far more serious frame of mind, Devolver explained its rationale for this move. Devolver has, during this time, navigated a number of operational market headwinds, including several impairments of underperforming titles, amid an increasingly competitive and unpredictable market environment. As a publicly quoted company, Devolver has faced the ongoing challenge of delivering growth in line with market expectations despite those difficult sector conditions, resulting in a valuation disconnect that does not take account of the lifetime and long-tail revenue delivery inherent in the video game business. The company, this is no longer a quote, the company believes it will save $1.6 million each year by going private again, and argues that its current share price, which has plunged to just 7 pounds, I think, or no, I'm sorry, pence. Wow, okay, 7.15 pence. So that's like 10 cents overnight since the announcement. It's it's representative of Devolver's actual value. They said that's not representative of their actual value. Excuse me. Okay, Jason, this is kind of where we're at in the industry right now, right? 2021, the sky's the limit. Why wouldn't you go public? That's like, we are going to grow infinitely. Everyone thought that. The big companies thought that. The little companies thought that. These middle of the road publishers that, are not the PlayStations, but also are not just like scraping by one game at a time. Everyone thought that. And then the reality check comes in, and now here we are, that they have to find some other way of going forward. And it's like, yeah, going public actually never really made sense, and that is especially obvious in 2026, right?
Correct. And they were riding the high, as the article continues, of Fall Guys the year before in 2020, which is maybe number 2 on the list of COVID games behind Animal Crossing. Yeah. That game, I don't think, sees the success that it does if not for COVID. It's fun, don't get me wrong, but not where it was. Not even close. So I do understand why they're doing it now. I find them to be very fortunate to be able to still do this and not just fold, because 95.3 is a number I expect to hear when I turn on a radio station, not involving loss percentages for a video game company. So I hope that this works out for them. I hope that there's something not going on behind the scenes where this might be too little too late. But also probably didn't help that while, yes, they published Fall Guys and it became very successful, Epic then bought Mediatonic and assumed all of that revenue. And then Devolver has always made good indie games. Don't get me wrong. They've been around for a very long time. I love Hotline Miami. I loved to hate Baby Steps as much as I enjoyed playing Baby Steps. I'm sure you could agree with that.
Oh, yeah, I understand.
But they're indie games. And indie games, unless they are the breakout hit of the year, have a ceiling. They just do.
Right.
And when you're specializing in a bunch of ceilings, one may break through, but the rest of them are just going to sit, and you're only going to get so high. The floor might be high, but then the ceiling is still there, and you just have to work within that house to keep the house metaphor going. I hope it works out. I do.
Yes, and it's like the meta's changed, right? Where it's like, this Devolver Digital did specialize in like gamer-ass games, and we're gonna put out some really cool stuff that has a voice, and you're gonna recognize that voice. You're gonna see a game and be like, oh, this feels like a Devolver Digital game, and then you'll look at the badges and it's like, oh, there's Devolver Digital. I knew it, and that definitely still has its place. But if you're talking about an ability to grow and make money, like, you look at a studio / publisher sort of situation like Aggro Crab, where it's like they have the crab game, and they're like, hey, now we're going to make Peak, this friend slot game, and now we're doing that. We have another one, the Crash Out Crew, and they sort of just have these smash hits that like suddenly they have a way of replicating that. And it's like, oh, they found a way to have an indie game formula that doesn't have that ceiling that you were speaking to. So Devolver hasn't really seemingly caught up to that. And I don't necessarily want them to. I want them to keep doing their thing. And it does seem like going private, they say, will enable them to do that. But of course, it's, they don't have much of a choice here either.
Right. Somebody in chat, JCannon64, mentions Tomodachi sold 8 million. Cozy COVID games still popular. There's a big difference, my friend, between Tomodachi Life and a brand new IP coming from Devolver Digital. 2, in fact. 1, Tomodachi, despite being in the lower portion of the portfolio, is a franchise, right? It has had multiple games.
It's sold
multiple successful games.
5 million before. Yeah.
Right. Not bad. 2, and this is the important one, it has the Nintendo machine behind it. Devolver Digital does not have the Nintendo machine behind it.
Right.
So that marketing, you know what I'm saying? Nintendo has the ability to make these smaller, more niche franchises into sales juggernauts because they also make the system. So these games are optimized for the system that they're coming out on. They're exclusives.
Yeah.
It's apples and oranges, if you ask me.
Yeah.
So I get it. I get where you're coming from, but it's apples and oranges.
Yeah. And I think, like, you know, when we look at the peaks of the COVID boom that led to something like Animal Crossing doing very well, it's like, yeah, the a lot of those people did buy systems and they're still playing it. Tomodachi Life it's a Switch 1 game, so that it did benefit from that still. There was a marketing sort of manifestation of, hey, if you're playing a game and you share stuff online, people will lap that stuff up, and that did get built up over COVID and really has not gone away. So games could still take advantage of that. Yeah,
sure.
Smaller publishers, Devolver, don't really have never really had access to that. That's not how that works for their games. Their games always worked on word of mouth from people who really play video games all the time and are looking for the next cool thing, and like read game reviews and want to know what like actual critics are thinking of stuff. And say, oh man, these Devolver games are getting good reviews. And that still has a pretty tough ceiling for sure. And
if you want to get into where that word of mouth happened, it happened in game stores. It happened in, you know, friend hangouts. Hey, did you see this
Discord
game?
Groups, yeah.
Discord groups. Now all those Discord groups are probably playing the same live service game. They're playing Marathon. They're playing Fortnite. They're playing the games that are taking up the time. All roads lead back to that argument. Yes, I know, but it's just this is one other symptom of what is a well-established issue.
Yep, when they're penny stocks, though, you know, they don't last long on these stock exchanges. You have to sort of get usually have to get it back up above $1. I'm not sure how it works on the London Stock Exchange, and it's far away from that in this moment. So they kind of just have no other choice. I'm glad this is not like, and we're shutting down. I hope this is not a precursor to that or something like that. Devolver feels like they could still make a lot of sense. Baby Steps was a really, I mean, was my game of the year, but also I felt like it was a pretty big hit. Do they need like 10 of those a year? Hopefully not. Hopefully they could just find them here and there and then put out some other cool stuff and make that work. But that is not going to lead to the kind of growth that the stock market is talking about. You know, you have to outperform the stock market, right? Because if you are one of these things, it's like, this is the problem with Xbox is they were like, we're still growing, but we're growing slowly. And it's like, yeah, the return needs to be much bigger because someone can just go put their money into, you know, an index fund or whatever that gets 8% per, you know, a year kind of automatically. And if you're not outperforming that, then what's the point? You're actually below the average and you don't make a lot of sense. So yeah, that's always going to be tough for these companies that don't have a lot of resources to work with.
Yeah.
All right. Let's shift over to Hollywood. The Legend of Zelda, a live-action movie, may have found its Ganondorf. This is from Eddie McCoo at GameSpot. The live-action The Legend of Zelda movie from Sony Pictures and Nintendo has already cast its Link and Zelda. But what about all the other roles? A new report claims that Australian actor Uli Ladokefu, best known for the TV series Young Rock, will play the villain Ganondorf. I think he played like 20-year-old or 18-year-old Young Rock or something.
He was the titular Young Rock. Yes.
Okay, he was like just straight like for the bulk of the story, it was he was playing it.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, when he was like up and coming, like you said, 18, 20-year-old just getting started in wrestling, he was that guy.
Okay, this is according to veteran Hollywood reporter Kyle Buchanan of the New York Times. He said he's been hearing that Latukefu got the role, but it's not yet officially confirmed by the studio. Deadline also reported on the casting, going on to say he made a multi-movie deal. In terms of confirmed casting, we already know that Bo Bragason is playing Zelda and Benjamin Evan Ainsworth is playing Link. Photos and links from the set appear to suggest that Severance actor Dyken Lockman may be playing Impa. She looks just like Impa, so yeah, probably. We have a follow-up story on that here in a second. But yeah, they've not officially announced any of this yet. But this stuff is starting to like get out there, which suggests to me like we got to be weeks, months, days away from a trailer or a teaser or something. What do you think?
Let's not forget that the cast of the Super Mario movie, the first one, was announced during the Nintendo Direct. So we have that potentially September Nintendo Direct time could be something that we could do, because that came out in April.
They're not skipping that direct. There's no way they don't have a big direct when that price increase happens. So there's going to be something here.
There has to be.
Yeah.
So, and I believe that the first Mario movie came out April 1st when it came out. So this is April 30th. The timing links. So the timing links. I did that to myself.
Boy. Oh boy.
Wow. All right. But first and foremost, this guy looks the part. He is a big, imposing figure. Although in one of my Slack chats, somebody was like, I thought Ganondorf was supposed to be an ugly crone. And then he had to be corrected that Tears of the Kingdom Ganondorf could get it. And it sounds like that's what they're going for here.
Yes.
But then, I mean, I think if he can have this big, imposing Ganondorf, I will kill you sort of look, that's all he needs. I'm sure he can deliver the lines fine. He's not going to be Matt Mercer. Nobody's Matt Mercer. But as long as he is, like stoic and calm and imposing when he needs to be, and then psychotic when he needs to be, if he has the look, that's 90% of it as far as Ganondorf's concerned.
Right.
I do agree that
factory, like you said, yes.
Yeah, he just needs to be, especially next to Bo Bragison and Benjamin Evan Ainsworth, who are smaller, more.
Just have a presence. Yep.
Yeah. Dylan Dyken.
I don't know how to say it. I'm saying Dyken.
Miss Casey from Severance.
Yeah.
It does exactly that. That's 100% perfect for Impa.
She's got elf ears. She has real cute elf ears. It's crazy.
But yeah, I get more and more excited about this movie as it approaches. I know I'm going to have to get over the hurdle of Link speaking. Everyone's going to have to do that. He's going to talk, folks. They're not going to have a silent protagonist in the friggin' movie. Just be ready for it. And once we get past that, I think we might have a cool movie on our hands.
Yep, absolutely. To that point, Sam Neill filmed The Legend of Zelda role prior to death. This is from Matt Grobar at Deadline. This is one of their exclusives. Earlier today, news broke that Australia's Uli Latu Kefu has landed the villain role of Ganondorf in the Legend of Zelda movie from Nintendo and Sony. Now, sources tell us that the late Sam Neill also will appear in the film. Reps for Sony couldn't be reached for comment, nor could Neill's former reps. The project, which wrapped in April, will mark one of Neill's final screen performances, if not the last. It's not yet clear who he plays. Neill died in July 13th at 78. Other new additions to the Zelda movie include that we mentioned Dyken Lockman, and then the Handmaid Tales Yvonne Strahovski. She's going to play an unnamed queen, so a little weird.
Unnamed queen.
Yeah, because we haven't seen a lot of queen characters. Sorry, my camera's freaking out. I think this is.
No, you're all right.
Yeah,
it's the Wasps. The Wasps' Revenge.
Yeah, it's Max Headroom. Yeah.
But Yvonne Strahovski, remind me, she was Miranda Lawson in Mass Effect.
That's correct. Yes.
That's cool. That's a cool pull. And she's a random queen. Now, have we decided? Are they following Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom?
I think so. We don't know yet, but we
don't know.
I think a lot of us are kind of looking at what little information we have, and we're like, they are probably mostly pulling, from Ocarina of Time, and then filling in everything else from all the other games. And then I think this it would be like a tier list where they're mostly going to fill in from Breath of the Wild. If they have to fill in stuff visually, aesthetically, if they have to have a character have more of a backstory, they'll kind of just pull from Breath of the Wild. But that is my guess how
I'm trying to slot in where Sam Neill could fit in.
I mean, he could be the king, right? He could be the king that shows up at the beginning of Breath of the Wild, right?
He would have made a great Happy Mask salesman.
I want him to be Tingle. Just put that man in the Tingle costume. Let him just.
Danny DeVito has to be Tingle. We've talked about this.
That'd be good.
No, but Link's uncle from Link to the Past. That's a good idea.
Yeah,
for Sam Neill.
That's a good point.
Yeah,
that's good.
That's a good call. Chat. I'm now getting more excited to learn about this film. Right, it's always been there in the periphery, but ever since the Ganondorf announcement and now this, I'm like, all right. We are within a year. I didn't realize that. Heck, we're within 9 months, 8 months of this movie coming out. Let's go. Let's get this big price increase direct happening. Get the cast announced in there. Tell us who Keegan-Michael Key is voicing in this one, and then let's do this thing.
Yeah, I'm just hearing like, oh yeah, they got that Ganondorf guy in a multi-movie deal. They have faith in this. They seem to think this thing is going to work. I think everyone involved knows if it hits, it could hit big. This could be a massive fantasy moneymaker. And I do appreciate that they are kind of like just trying to make it as much like Lord of the Rings as possible in terms of the production, where it's like, let's just go to New Zealand. Let's get a handful of actors from Australia and New Zealand to fill out our cast. Like, yeah, that worked for them.
I look forward to the YouTube channels that will arise after this movie comes out, comparing Lord of the Rings shots and Zelda shots based on the scenery in the background.
Absolutely. 1,000,000%. There's going to be overlap. There's going to be overlap there for sure. All right. Take-Two had its earnings. Take-Two sticks to annual bookings outlook, says it's on track for GTA 6 November launch. I think we can figure that out now. This is from Reuters. But basically, the story here, though, is like they said pre-orders are doing very well. They were like, hey, pre-orders were started and they're doing very well, extremely well. They didn't give any numbers. They did say that their the first fiscal quarter ended June 30th and net bookings stood at 1.39 billion, which was a touch above market estimates of 1.38 billion. A lot of people online were like, hey, Grand Theft Auto 6 pre-orders has already made $1.39 billion. That's not what that is. This is a different thing. In fact, most of the money for pre-ordering is not happened yet, right? Like that doesn't get processed until the game like ships from like Amazon or whatever. It doesn't get processed by GameStop. They take $5 deposit, but they don't give that money over to them until the disc happens. Right.
GameStop doesn't sell games anymore.
Right. Yeah. Right. Stop exactly. That. The Funko Pop deposit, I meant to say. So they're like, oh, we're making money now, and then we expect to make around like God, I think they put it at 8.2 billion. Okay, yeah, here it is. Take-Two said it expects fiscal 2027 bookings of 8 billion to 8.2 billion. Analysts on average were expecting that number to be 8.86 billion. So it's a little bit under what analysts thought. That is just Take-Two being conservative, so they can really beat that number and look very, very strong. So they're on track to do, big things there. There was some other stuff here. They did talk about the price once more. Take-Two defends GTA 6's $80 price, calls it phenomenal value. This is from Darren Bonthus at GameSpot. While most of Take-Two Interactive's games are priced at $70, which became a much more common MSRP for new releases from 2020 onwards, GTA 6 is one of a handful of titles that will retail for $80. A price that the publisher believes is a phenomenal value for the open world game. Speaking to investors following the release of Take-Two's quarterly earnings, CEO Strauss Zelnick addressed a query about how the publisher had landed on an $80 price point for GTA 6. Zelnick echoed previous statements made regarding the value proposition of GTA 6 and how the publisher is aiming to over-deliver on the value attached to that title. Our goal is to deliver way more value to consumers than we charge them. Zelnick said, the truth is that the real cost of a AAA video game as a whole is a lot lower today than it was 20 years ago, blah, blah, blah. The same thing we've heard a bunch of times. But new games from Take-Two have come out and have been priced at $70. Like NBA 2K27 came out or got priced at least. That's $70 as opposed to the Grand Theft Auto 6, which is $80. And I think they were asked about that as well. And like, yeah, I mean, Grand Theft Auto is different. He basically said, we had a lot of prices we could have chosen for Grand Theft Auto 6. And we went with $80. Basically saying, be happy it's only 80. And I think a lot of us are like, we know it could have been a lot more expensive. How do you think things are lining up for this game, for Take-Two? Like, where do you think the conversation is at with like the average person? Does it feel like, people are just going to line up, buy this game for $80 and it's going to be as big as everyone has proclaimed it's going to be?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I don't know that it's going to be industry saving because the problems with the industry are outside of Take-Two's purview. I know people like to say Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to save video games. No, it's not. It's going to keep Take-Two on the top of the charts, and that's about it. But I do think that, like, we here in the bubble of video game coverage and industry and being so deeply entrenched into it, forget about the sheer popularity of this thing outside of the bubble with the casuals, to use a very derisive term. These people have been looking forward to this game since that first trailer, some of these people may be starting a 30-day free trial, or no, they don't do free trials. Maybe doing a month-to-month Netflix subscription now, just so they can watch the thing 6 hours early in 20 days time, and then canceling it again. Do not underestimate the power of the Grand Theft Auto fan. They are numerous and they are dedicated. They would have come out for $90. They would have come out for $100. Some of them probably are coming out for $100 and more with the deluxe editions or whatever they are. I think it's $100 and what? I don't know what the other one is.
I can't remember.
But yeah, this one, you're going to get the people who haven't played a video game, who bought a PS5 or Xbox at launch, and they play Madden on it, and they play 2K on it, and maybe Call of Duty as well. You're going to get those people. There are a lot of those people. And then you're going to get people who bought the PS5 at launch for this, and it has been sitting on a shelf for 6 years for this. They exist, and they are coming.
Oh, yeah. Numerous.
This game's going to be huge.
Yes.
And it's there. I just don't see any other way for it to play. It would be hysterical to me, though, if this game came out for $80 and was like a 10-hour single-player narrative. I would piss myself. But no, as far as phenomenal value, he's probably talking about price versus hours. I expect a completionist run of this game to run, 150, 200? And that's being generous, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think... I think people get a lot of content out, or a lot of content hours out of it.
Red Dead Redemption 2 ended, and then it just kept going with a different protagonist for another 25 hours. Mm-hmm. Who knows what the hell is going to happen here? So, it's going to dominate headlines from, I would say, November 1st to Thanksgiving, maybe even Christmas. It's just going to be the game industry for the rest of 2026 once it launches. And yeah, I mean, it's all there is to it.
Yeah, I'm definitely getting to a point where it's like, yeah, I see the chat. Why do you guys act like you're above it? I'm not above it. It's just like we are so steeped in like, this is the only game that matters. And that's kind of it's the subtext to everything that is told to us when we look at any sort of data or anything like that, or when you do talk to people in the industry, everything revolves around it. And I think I think Grand Theft Auto games are fun for a bit. I don't think they're worth all this hoopla personally. That's just how I feel about them. But I'm excited to play it, just like I am any video game. But that is not the treatment that the game gets. It doesn't get the treatment like, this is another video game. It is it's the Jesus, it's the savior, it's the one thing that will not just save the industry, but it's the one game worth thinking or talking about. And I'm like pretty immune to resenting it at this point because of that. Like, and Mike was like, God, I'm so sick of this. And I'm like, I fully get that, but I'm just like, I do this show and I have to talk about Grand Theft Auto 6 every day for the most part. And so I don't resent it, but I'm definitely like, I don't have it on a pedestal in my heart. That's not where it goes. It's just another video game to me.
Well, because you remember the times when it wasn't on a pedestal, like when the first Grand Theft Auto came out.
Yeah.
And people were like, what the?
I played on Dreamcast at a friend's house, and we were like, I think it was Dreamcast. It might have been something else, but I think we were playing on Dreamcast, and like we were talking to each other, and we're like, man, imagine if this game was like the camera was down there and it was 3D, and we had the whole conversation describing what Grand Theft Auto 3 was going to be to each other without any idea that they were doing that. And when it happened, it was like, that's amazing. They pulled off. This is truly like revolutionary and amazing. And we felt that way. Like we felt that way about dozens of other games in our time. And yeah, it's just like, this is one that has done that for a lot of people in the mainstream. So it has this outsized effect. That's all.
Listen, I'm just happy that one of the largest video game launches of all time is going to be led by a protagonist who shares my first name. Okay. I hope he's fully customizable, because if he is,
Fanelli Fridays are happening in Grand Theft Auto.
I'm just going to self-insert myself into this game and see what happens. But yeah, it's, and I love Stress Zelnick being like, phenomenal value. And what the hell is he going to say? No, this game sucks. Don't buy it. I mean, you're like,
yes,
man.
Of course. All right. He wasn't done, though. Take-Two CEO predicts that we'll all be streaming our games in 3 years. This is from Rebecca Valentine at Kotaku. The high price of video game hardware and the looming threat of further increases is still casting a shadow over the future of gaming for consumers. And while video game executives generally are not folks you'd expect to be particularly fussed about these cost increases, especially if they're profiting off them, the CEO of Take-Two, owner of Grand Theft Auto 6 studio Rockstar Games, agrees that the price hikes are not a good thing. However, he's not too concerned because he believes we're all going to be streaming our games on other devices in 3 years anyway. This came from a lengthy answer given in Take-Two's quarterly earnings call this morning by Strauss Zelnick in response to a question about the rising cost of hardware. He began his reply by saying that the rising price of hardware is not a good thing because it means fewer people will have machines on which to play games, but that it won't slow Take-Two down as a business because we're delivering experiences that people want. But Zelnick continued. Let's see here. He said, first, he pointed out that the world is increasingly moving to open systems, as demonstrated by the rise of PC gaming over the last 20 years. It's been longer than that. And then he continued, with the advent of streaming, which we really do believe is around the corner in terms of having something that's a low latency and really works well for consumers, machines that weren't game machines before will become game machines. So without regard to what happens in the console business, which is of consequences to us, of course, we see the overall install base as a practical matter growing materially. And if you believe in streaming, to be clear, we really do, and I'm happy to put a timeline on it. I think we'll be in commercial streaming mode in 3 years. And by commercial, I mean low latency. That can 10x the effective install base. That doesn't mean we're going to 10x our revenue, and we wouldn't project that we would, because obviously your avid consumers already have access to video game machines. But I do think it creates great opportunity for titles that are broadly desirable, even outside of core markets. And we do have titles like that, obviously. I will say, like, this is like the number one best piece of evidence yet that Strauss Zelnick, who admits this, is not someone who plays video games. And not someone who plays Grand Theft Auto, because like what really made like Grand Theft Auto go around? It's a Grand Theft Auto Online for sure, but it was also like the role play servers, which were mods and community controlled stuff you had to like install on do stuff on your machine that you owned that you could do stuff to. If you're streaming from the cloud and that is controlled by someone else and you kind of can't customize the experience, that is going to limit what happens. And then the game that does like take its place is going to be one that you have full control of. This is not how people have said, like with their money, with their time, with their behavior, this is not how they want to be playing video games, streaming over the cloud. And it has been low latency before, and that has not made a difference.
No, yeah. Talk to Luna. Did you even know Amazon Luna still exists? It does.
Yeah, forgot about it.
It's there. Google Stadia would like to have a word as well. The low latency cloud gaming will never succeed until the internet infrastructure of the country and the world is improved. Now, granted, outside of the US, it is already much better than it is here. But until little Timmy in rural Kansas, whatever, can play cloud games the same way he would as if he had the console in his living room, it's irrelevant.
Yeah.
None of this is irrelevant. And as Jason Schreier pointed out, someone put in chat, Colin pointed out in chat, Strauss said the same 3-year thing about streaming services in 2019.
Yep.
So he just likes to say streaming in 3 years in the same thing. They just make him feel nice.
That, like, if you are an executive that doesn't play games and you do all the other medias, because I'm sure he reads books, I'm sure he watches movies, I'm sure he listens to music. He's like, well, it'll happen all over there, so it's going to have to happen here eventually. And it's like,
right.
I think the dynamism of video games comes from the fact that they are software that people can own on their machine and do fun things with. That is why people lean towards PC. And yeah, people pointed out, absolutely, I've mentioned a million times, Rockstar acquired the role-playing server people. It acquired a lot of user-generated content aspects of the community. That doesn't matter. Like they're not gonna be able to put trademarked material in there. They're not gonna enable you to like do the craziest shit that you can do, and that will still come from the community. And you need to own the hardware to really do that. Unless you're gonna like have this PC in the cloud that you still have full control of, they're not gonna give you that. If it's gonna go cloud gaming, it's gonna be them controlling the experience. That's one of the reasons they want to do this. So. The people that care enough to play a Grand Theft Auto game care enough to own their own hardware, and that's not going to change.
No, it'll never change. And if this frustrates you, if it really makes you upset, unlike when he's opened his mouth before, you have an avenue in which to release this stress. You can log on to WWE 2K26 and slam him through a fucking table.
That's right. He's right
hit
there.
Him with a chair. He put himself there. He did it to himself. And now you can go in and give him a Stone Cold Stunner or a Rock Bottom to your heart's content. But yeah, he does just sound like that normal suit who has no friggin' idea what's going on, doesn't he? Yeah. It's 3 years from now, we'll still be waiting for streaming 3 years from then. And that 3 years will just keep happening until the end of time. Meanwhile, the rest of us will be investing in retro hardware and emulator handhelds and playing our favorite games that way because we don't want to deal with your streaming bullshit.
That's right. All right, we should start wrapping the show up. Let's. That's not the poll question. That's Street Fighter EX plus Alpha music. Let me go over here instead.
Oh yeah,
I know, right? It's a good soundtrack. Okay, have you purchased an EA game this year? That's the poll question that we need to catch up on. Yes or no? I said no. So did 90% of respondents. 10% said yes. I bet that number does change when Zero Company comes out. I bet a few more people end up buying an EA game in that moment. Otherwise, even people who were once super into the sports games, a lot have checked out. So I know I don't go back to them like years and years and years at a time. Maybe occasionally I will check them out, but years and years at a time I'll skip out on them.
Janice scrolling through the comments, as you say, that's 3 Zero Company comments just in this little scroll. So I think you're absolutely spot on about that. I
mean, that's, it's former XCOM people, it's Respawn people. I might not have any love for EA, but I do like Respawn and the people that are still there, even though it's like a lot of people that made the Respawn games that I truly love have moved on. There's still a lot of people that are still there, and they're working with former XCOM people to make a Star Wars XCOM style game. I will.
And that's the rub, right? You want to support the studios, you want to support the people making the game, but in order to do that, you have to
play the games from cool people.
Shit.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. No new poll question because we have the Bomb 12 instead. We'll get to that to wrap up the show. So let's take care of business otherwise. Jason, why don't you tell people where they can find you on the internet, what you have going on, and all that good stuff?
JasonFanelli.com on Blue Sky, Big Man Fanelli on Instagram. That's where I am most active on socials. As I mentioned at the top of the show, I will be reviewing Marvel Tōkon for GameSpot and Madden 27 for IGN, so look for that stuff coming out soon. In fact, one of those two might have a little in-progress thing by the end of the day, so just keep an eye on that, and I will share it as soon as it is ready. Otherwise, I had a bunch of the MagicCon Amsterdam stuff is happening. That happened. That new set comes out today. The Hobbit. I don't know if I'm writing anything with that right there, but that's something I'm looking forward to. Phillies tonight, as I said. If you see me, please feel free to say hello. Somebody did on Monday. We were there on Monday for my theater group's show. So somebody came up and introduced themselves, said Weber, Giant Bomb Premium member, Weber, I think it's Weber, introduced himself, said hello, said love your stuff, love when you're on with Jeff Grubb. Did it in front of my wife and kids, so now that I can prove that I'm not making it up.
Yeah,
Emmy, do this.
Emmy brought up to me, like, it's happened a bunch, but like only a couple times around Emmy, and it was like one time where we were at Disney, and she that was a year ago, and she's like, remember that? Do you like that? I'm like, yeah, sure. What do you think of it? She's like, I like it. Okay, cool. Get up. That makes me feel good.
My kids were slamming ice cream, and they're like, "What? Dad has fans?" I'm like, "Oh, I guess." Oh no, sure. But
Chase, go say hi to him. Chase Utley, a huge Giant Bomb fan. So,
if that happens, you'll hear an explosion from Philadelphia, and that will be.
You'll sign an autograph for him. That would rule. Yeah.
But yes, that's what I got going on. That's what I'm doing, and
fantastic. Like I said, thank you so much as always, Jason. Let's see here. It's Giant Bomb still, so we got some more stuff to do today in a little bit, not too long from now. In fact, you don't have to maybe go anywhere. We might send you somewhere, but just hang out on Giant Bomb as we get ready for the Giant Big Walk. We are going to play some more Big Walk today live. We're going to continue where we left off from the quick look. So if you watch that, we're going to pick up from there, and we'll have multicam perspective. Sean will be sort of jumping between all of our perspectives. We might have a few friends hop in. Kayla, might be there. So we'll see how that goes. I kind of want to just put her in charge and have her all yell at us, because that's a good time. She's the best yeller.
Every item you find is about to be punted into the sea. Good luck.
I'm looking forward to it. I really had a good time playing this game. So tune in. Let's hang out together. Let's wrap up the week nice with that. Okay, let's see. So that means it's time for the Bomb 12, everybody. These are the 12 games that really matter to people who are really playing video games. Let's go through here, starting with number 12, popping back up on the list, Final Fantasy 14, because that is now on Switch 2. I bet it'll be even higher next week, actually. Number 11 is Hades 2. Number 10 is Pathogenic. Number 9 is Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth. Number 8, Big Walk. Again, that's another one I expect to be higher next week. Number 7 is Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Number 6 is Beast of Reincarnation. Number 5 is Densha Attack. Number 4, rising on the list, is Fox Quest 2.
Next week, well, maybe not, because a couple of games have come out this week, so maybe not. But next week, you might have a picture of Fox Quest 2 in the top 3 of this thing.
Fox Quest 2 is unstoppable. That's what we always say here. Number 3, Halo Combat Evolved. That did jump a big time from last week. And then number 2 is Marathon still. Man, I need to spend more time with Marathon before we do Game of the Year is what I've decided. And then number 1, Splatoon Raiders. This is just a fan favorite is what I would say at this point for that game. People who are into it are super into it.
A lot of people in the chat are questioning the choice of picture. Does someone need to explain themselves?
All right, listen, that's not me. That's all on Jan, and Jan has his own proclivities. We don't judge him for it. All right, everybody. That does it for the Bomb 12, although there's always a new Bomb 12 in the coming next week. Next Friday, we'll have another one. And if you want to submit your game for that, go to giantbomb.com, scroll down on the right. You could see all the games that are on this week's Bomb 12. On the left, there's a button that says Vote Here. You click that, takes you to the Google form. You could submit your game. I will collate all of that and get it ready for next week. And please do so. It's always great to see the hundreds of people who submit their game for the Bomb 12 so we could see what this community is into. I always appreciate it. All right, with that said, Jason Fanelli, thank you so much for hanging out on a Fanelli Friday, man. I really appreciate it.
Always happy to be here. Thank you, Grubb.
Thank you all for watching and listening. You're the best audience in gaming. You make it all worth it. Until next time, have a good one. Good time. Take care of yourself, and goodbye.